Good morning. All right, if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry for the delay. Trying something a little bit innovative this morning. Going live on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. For no reason other than you, my friend, you good-looking son of a bitch, you're sexy as you know what right now. Anyway, going live on 2 platforms, not sure how this is going to work, but I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm the most non-tech guy you could possibly imagine, right? I need to have like a production assistant, I think, but yeah, I'm on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, how do I, because the CrossFit Pittsburgh website will take a link from YouTube like that, upload it, and you can watch it, which is a great feature. But in order to convert Facebook video to YouTube format, there's this process that's like, it's like Chinese trigonometry to me. I'm sorry. Was that racist? Certainly didn't mean it to be. It's just difficult. Difficulty level. Steep learning curve. But anyway, I thought I'd try this. I thought I'd try a Simo. Right? I've got YouTube going on up here and Facebook down here. But anyway, coming up on Memorial Day, next Monday, right? And it seems like I talked about this briefly, this piece of it yesterday. And what's up, little brother? I talked about this briefly yesterday. And when I was a kid, probably like most people, Memorial Day for me when I was little was a kickoff to summer. We had, back then, I mean, my God, back then that was pretty much it. You had days left, not weeks afterwards. And hey, first, real quick, right? Doing a little bit different. I'm not down in my human performance lab today. I'm up in the dining room area, and you can kind of see behind me the black and gold decor for the Riverview Raiders. Woo! Go Raiders! Class of 2020, not just Riverview, because my baby is a part of that graduating class, but class of 2020 everywhere. Shout out to my wife's alma mater, Woodland Hills High School, class of 2020, where I am currently the safety and security dude, right? Shout out to all the class of 2020. I mean, these kids have worked hard, not just this year, but worked hard for 4 years. And, excuse me, that's right. And it's not just the nose, brother. Black Rifle Coffee, not a sponsor of the, that's ironic though. That's ironic, since I tend to call this little hoorah Coffee with Mike. Should probably hit them up for a little. Aunt B. That's good coffee. Black Rifle Coffee. Today's blend, once again, is MO. Murdered Out, a very dark blend, which is nice. Dark as the soul of the man who drinks it. Just kidding. But it's very, very good. It's very dark roast. It's nice. It gets you, my brother Mark. Hey, timestamp. We'll go back to this. Mark, you'll like this story, man. My boy is, he's our youngest. He's 15 years old, right? And he came to me the other day and he's like, hey, Dad, I swear he said something recently. This was just days ago. And he was like, hey, Dad, did you hear that an Iranian submarine sunk off the coast of whatever? Man, I got to tell you, I had to stop myself, because I was like, is he old enough to hear the story of the mission you went on back in the day, where I believe we just sold a submarine to the Iranians when we were allies? Yeah, and they, that's not funny, man. That's not funny. But if I remember the story you told me correctly, just as they were about to submerge, they did so with some hatches open, sunk the submarine, and everybody drowned. Something like that. Yeah. That's 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Good job. But you know what? You know what though? Seriously, if I were you, Iran, I'd continue to make threats against Israel, pound your chest and thump, but stay out of the water. You know what I mean? Stay out of the water, you goofy little bastards. So anyway, good stuff. Good to see you. But yeah, so Black Rifle Coffee, Colombian blend. Believe Murdered Out's Colombian. I'm not sure. It's dark. It's robust. It's good stuff. And you will never hear me say the word robust again, because frankly, that's a stupid word. But anyway, a little Memorial Day preview, right? And salute to the class of 2020 everywhere. You know, kudos to all of you students. I mean, I don't want to make it worse than it is, but I think we've all gone through this. If anybody has a student in that class, you know, what I think leading up to this point, leading up to end of year, you know, we already started to anticipate, well, what are we going to miss out on? Well, spring sports, in my opinion, was first off the table, because preparation for spring sports had begun, you know, March time frame, right? Baseball, track and field, excuse me. Two that come to mind: baseball, track and field, tennis, golf. No, golf. I think golf's fall. No disrespect, but if you can wear a watch while you're doing it, is it really a sport? I digress. But hey, at least it's not frisbee, you know. But anyway, so I think that was the first thing that we started to contend with was, you know, what are we going to miss out on here, right? I wrestled with my dog earlier this morning. But, you know, what are we going to miss out on first? Well, spring sports were kind of first on the chopping block, you know. And then, you know, we looked at things like, you know, High School Musical. Is it going to be postponed? You know, so I think that was the thing. Once you realize what had to be cut because you're going to miss too much of it, like a sports season, and then you push to, well, we could always slide, you know, a weekend long, you know, so many, 3, 4, 5 shows, what have you, of a musical. You could push that further, you know, roll it to the right, and then the you know, the delay became a cancellation of school, prom, you know, High School Musical, dance recitals. But I'll tell you this, and I know that both of the school districts that I'm close to, you know, Riverview, where I live and my children attend, and Woodland Hills, where I work, have gone to incredible, impressive lengths to make sure that the students, you know, have everything they could possibly have under these circumstances, and I think it's wonderful. Yesterday, for example, most recently, yesterday, Miss Maria, thank you so much. You're the best. She and a couple of the other dance instructors drove around and presented the scholarships to the seniors who had danced, you know, for so many years. And you know, both of my daughters had danced from the first opportunity to the senior year, you know, which was great. So, you know, I hate to say it's the next best thing because that sounds like a slight, but under the circumstances, it was absolutely wonderful to get a visit, you know. And just like, you know, the week before, you know, a good friend of ours, Rainey Zatowski, came around with Emily's, you know, a banner for the front yard, and you know, t-shirts, and really like cool, and hate to say again, like, you know, a gift bag. That's not the point, but you know, specific, thoughtful, and deliberate to celebrate the seniors in the class of 2020. So you know, all of you, you know, my thoughts are with you. Wish you nothing but the best as you take on college. And I know this, all right, adversity tempers steel, okay? So, you know, you're not going to be like your peers. You're not going to be like, you know, the classes before you or after you. You know, you came through this, and this is your own little crucible in a way. It's disappointing, right? It is. It's disappointing. As a parent, I'm disappointed. You know, I watched my daughters, that this was fantastic, but the senior, excuse me, dance recital, the last piece of the dance recital annually is a video send-off to the senior dancers, to the senior classes, and that was uploaded. It was, you know, created and uploaded to YouTube, and I got to see it yesterday. And you know, it's always very emotional, particularly if one of your daughters is in it, and you know, yesterday was no exception. But I got to tell you, I think yesterday was more impacting, because of the fact that, you know, we missed, there was no recital. It was amazing. It's absolutely amazing when you see photographs of these kids from their first recital when they were so tiny, you know, so tiny, to the young ladies that they've grown into. And, you know, once again, you know, shout out to Miss Maria and the other teachers who have been mentors, you know, and friends, and people that have made impact on these girls' lives who they'll never forget, ever. You know, I mean, I think it's wonderful, right? Hats off to you. And I would literally hats off to you, but, you know, kind of in a growing transitional phase right now, so I'm gonna Aquaman this thing, you know. Anyway, good though, you know, class of 2020, and I know this, as I said, you know, it's hardship, it's your own little crucible in a way, and this will prepare you so that when you hit whatever's on your horizon, whether it's college, whether it's trades, whether it's anything you can possibly imagine, you know, you're going to hit that like Dev Group hits a Taliban stronghold. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, thoughts and prayers and nothing but the best to all of you. I think it's wonderful, wonderful. But back to the point, right? A little Memorial Day preview. When I was very little, for me, you know, Memorial Day was a kickoff to the summer. It's a 3-day weekend, and you know, hot dogs on the grill, and baseball. First time, true story. First time I ever had my nose broken. So Ross, this story's for you. First time I ever got my nose broken, I was 8 years old, and it was Memorial Day Monday, and it was a beautiful day. I remember it so well. Just blue skies and sun, and the, you know, the pool was open, and we were having people over. My family, my parents always invited friends over for Memorial Day, and no one had arrived yet. So it was right at that lull, that fun time where, you know, preparations are just about done. The patio's set up, and you know, getting ready to go, and we got some time, got a little bit of time before the guests arrive. And I was a royal pain in the ass. You know, you ask my dear sweet wife how much of a pain in the ass I am now. When I was a kid, well, first of all, I was the youngest grandson in the family, youngest of 12 grandchildren. I was the baby, right? And my parents waited like 8 years, you know, try again. And, you know, they got me. Right, so they got me after 8 years. So I was very, very spoiled, and it's probably a little jerk if I think about it. But I was a pest. I was a pest. Some people would call it tenacious. I was a pest. So I was like, hey dad, we got some time. Let's have a catch. My dad's like, yeah, okay, great. So we break out the baseball clubs. We're in the backyard, and the way the yard was set up, like this way, right? So the house is here. They just like the yard's here, and my dad's up here, and I'm back here, and my sweet mother is in the kitchen, and she's making last-minute prep, you know, whatever, putting finishing touches. But she just happened to be standing at the sink, looking out the window. And the story that she tells is, I just looked at you two, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're my guys, you know, catching baseball, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And whether I took my eye off the ball or whether Dad had a wicked curve, I don't even know. But, you know, come on, Dad, come on. You know, throw it in here, come on, right? And the last throw he made, I have my glove up, and I swear to God, that thing breaks right around the glove. Ball comes right around the glove, hits me square in the nose. And just for visual effects, it was kind of comical. I was wearing I guess like a t-shirt type, like a pullover, and it was a blue and white horizontal stripe, right? Thick, you know, navy blue and white horizontal stripes. And I guess this, you know, ball hit my nose so hard and just, and my mom said it was like a water faucet turned on. It was no slow trickle. It was just like, blood all over the shirt and everything. And of course, you know, I'm 8 years old, so I think I'm dying, and I'm like, ah! So good stuff. Yeah, that's an early Memorial Day recollection for me. But you know, for me, the significance of Memorial Day as a child was the kickoff to summer. You know, we had just a short bit of school left, and then you're done. You are done, and you don't have to think about anything till Labor Day. You just have fun, right? And as I grew older, you know, a little bit older, I realized at an early age the significance of Memorial Day, and I realized that it's it's a somber event, right? And then as a grown up, I guess you could say, I started to be one of those people that really did get kind of assed up when I get thank yous on Memorial Day. Right? I'm a veteran, thank me on Memorial Day, right? I appreciate it. I don't mean any disrespect by it, but Memorial Day is reserved for those who have served our country and made the ultimate sacrifice, and on that note, I mean, I do get very, very, reflective around this time of year. And this morning, I just wanted to say this. I thought it was very appropriate. My father's oldest brother, my Uncle Dan, as a teenager, he served our country in the Army Air Corps during World War II. He was an aircrew member on Flying Fortress, right? So running bombing missions over Europe against anti-aircraft, against, at the time, perhaps the best air defense system, in the world, and shot down over enemy lines, right? I managed to E&E, escape and evade, and make his way back to continue the fight as a teenager. I'll put things in perspective, all right? In general, not specifics. Look at the teenagers back then. Look at the teenagers now. You all have your chance to live up to expectations, but the bar is set pretty high, all right? I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying those of you who have already proven that you can, you are in the minority right now. Because for the most part, I'm not impressed by what I'm seeing. And maybe that's me being a grumpy old man, and maybe that's me being, kids today, what do they know? But, so my Uncle Dan, right? He was something else. And, that was awesome. I mean, that is, you're serving your country in time of war, a war like the world had never seen. World War I was supposed to be the war that ended all wars, and there's no war that's, except maybe the Gulf War. Right? It was more like a jaunt out and back. And no disrespect, so keep your mouth shut if you're going to get stupid, because that was my time. That was like for me, as a young naval officer, it was like the shape of things to come, and it was like over before it even began. But I remember sitting in an all-officers meeting at the wing level in Virginia Beach, Attack Squadron 42. I was in the replacement air group at the time, and I was sitting there, and our wing commodore gets up, and first thing out of his mouth during this gathering, so to speak, he referred to the Gulf War that had just ended. It literally just ended, and this was a Vietnam era A6 dude, right? First thing out of his mouth was, boys, that wasn't a war. Wars last years, they don't last weeks, okay? I never forgot that. Thought about it a lot after that. I mean, no disrespect, but, I played Little League Baseball for Stanton Heights. Doesn't mean I was ever a ball player. Follow me? Anyway, making friends all morning. Then, fast forward a little bit, my father, in the 50s, served in Korea, right? Served in Korea, and I remember this so vividly. He used to tell me, he didn't talk much about it, so growing up, like friends of mine whose fathers had served in the military, they were like, oh, my dad said, oh, my dad said, oh, my dad, all these stories, and I didn't get it at the time. I didn't get it. I felt kind of disappointed that my friends had stories that their dads told them, and I didn't, And then the older I got, and the more I started to think back to those stories, realized that the majority, if not all of those stories, were about boot camp, were about R&R, were about places they'd visited. And then I thought about it, and only as a military member myself, years and years later, I talked to my dad, and that's when I started to hear some of the stories. And they were quite a bit different. Stories about actual combat, freezing conditions, in the winter, ground frozen. He was in armor. He was a tanker, right? And you know, sweltering conditions in the summer, freezing bitter cold in the winter. And one of the things I remember, it's my Riverview senior just came by. Good morning, sweetheart. Hi. Hi. She hates me. Don't make me spit my coffee. She only hates me on days that end in Y. So, anyway, and this was kind of a shout out to kind of thing too. And I remember once, you know, talking about it as a grown up, and my dad said, you know, I got to tell you, one of the things that bothered me the most, and it was funny. He was like, you know, you run into guys who are like, oh, I heard you were in Korea, and he'd say, yeah, I was, and they'd say, oh, where were you? He's like, well, you know, where was I? You know, wherever we were sent, you know, but in country. And I guess then he would go, well, where were you? Oh, my unit was in Germany. Think about that. Hey, I heard you were in Korea. Yeah, I was. Oh, so was I. Where were you? Well, I was in Chosun. I was in Kumsan. I was in, right? Where were you? My unit was in Germany. I don't know, man. I don't recall ever hearing a story of North Koreans or Chinese communists ever trying to go after U.S. Service members in Hamburg, right? No disrespect. Serving your country is serving your country. However, I heard you were in Korea, so was I. My unit was in Beaver County. Beaver County? I mean, I don't know where this is going, how widespread, but anybody from Pennsylvania, how many beavers are there? Right? There's Beaver County, there's Beaver Township, there's Beaver, PA, there's Big Beaver, there's Little Beaver. That's just a lot. Maybe you should have had like a thesaurus and you could have come up with some other names. I don't know. It just struck me. Hey, I'll tell you what. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this or not, but I'm not, you know, a lot of goddamn crows around lately. Right? And if you see where I'm going with this, typically crows are messengers. Right? Messengers from the Netherlands. Netherlands. Netherworld's a play on words there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of crows. I don't know. Could be seasonal, but yeah. Anyway, so Memorial Day, right? Just think about it and give it the respect that it's due. Okay. This year, unfortunately, Memorial Day, Oakmont does a fantastic Memorial Day show, you know, presentation. They do a parade, and they get a lot of veterans attend, which is just wonderful. And the folks that set it up, year after year, Tara Conroy, Mr. Truby. It's fantastic. I mean, it really, really is. And I got to be honest with you. In the beginning, I never went. Memorial Day for me, you know, particularly after, you know, after I came back home, was a very, very personal and somber and private day for me. It was almost too emotional to go out, right? But as my children got older and started to participate in the marching band and majorettes and so forth, and they would be in the parade. So, you know, my wife and I went. I can't even tell you how long ago my you know, the first one was, but extremely well done. Extremely well. It's a beautiful, beautiful service, and you know, unfortunately, you know, it's been canceled this year. But you know, true to form, there'll be a virtual version of it. So, you know, again, you know, all respect due. But I want to share this with you, all right? Because maybe you've heard it before. I'm sure some of you have, and can't tell you the origin because I didn't do the due diligence on it. But if you've heard it before, you know, hopefully it, you know, hits you as much as it does me. It's called True Believer. Somewhere a true believer is training to kill you. He's training with minimal food or water in austere conditions, day and night. The only thing clean on him is his weapon, and he made his web gear. He doesn't worry about what workout to do. His ruck weighs what it weighs, and his run ends when the enemy stops chasing him. The true believer doesn't care about how hard it is. He knows he either wins or he dies. He doesn't go home at 1700. He is home. The true believer knows only the cause. Right? I want you to think about this. There's no draft anymore. All right? And I'm just going to say this one time and make it crystal clear. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, so if you take it that way, that's your problem, right? There is no draft. So every man and woman who signs on to serve our country now realizes full well what they're up against, and they do it willingly, right? But that logic, that thought process, that true believer mentality, that's what you're up against, all right? So salute to all of you, before, during, and yet to come. Who have taken that obligation freely. So in spite of anything else we may be going through or we think or whatever, and throw all the pandemics at us you want, lock us down, do whatever, but you know what? I'm still up at 0 dark 30 every morning and I'm getting after it. Hell, I'm in my prime. All right, listen. Grab some coffee if you haven't already, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And I will be seeing you all. Give me some feedback too, because this is the first time I did this tandem YouTube, Facebook. Well, I wanted to open up a MySpace account, but I can't find it anymore. I was going to put some material on Betamax, and then, you know, try to work a deal with Blockbuster so you could rent it. But I couldn't find that either. So, all right. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Have a great Sunday, and enjoy your week. I will see you. All right, I'm out.